Greetings, everybody. Let me tell you the story about the time I was karate kicked by a friend. You got that right. So I was about 15, 16 years old, and there was a friend of mine, and he was taking karate lessons. So, way back in the day, this is when karate lessons were not that common. There wasn't a dojo on every corner, it seemed. And to date myself, this was before the Karate Kid movie. So this was back in the day, way back in the day. And so what happened was he also had a bicycle that was a very expensive bicycle. And a bunch of us were just monkeying around. We were going from house to house in the neighborhood. And he happened to leave his bicycle at one of the other houses. And he didn't want anybody else riding his bicycle. He specifically told me, don't ride my bike. So anyway, one of the buddies in our group, he said, Rich, you should take the bike back to his house. He's going to have to walk over here and get it. I said, I don't think he wants me riding his bike. And the friend said, oh, come on, he's not going to mind. He's not going to mind. So me, listening to this guy and also thinking I was doing the other guy a favor, I hopped on the bike and rode it back to his house. So now there are a group of us. There are probably about maybe 5, 6 of us there at his house. And this guy, we will call him Sam. So Sam sees me on his bike and he says, get off. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. Now, I had seen Sam practice his karate, and he had a basement. In his basement, he had this big, gigantic, heavyweight bag, and he would do punches, he would do kicks on it, and he had an especially strong kick. It was a side kick. So he would side kick this heavyweight bag, and it would go boom, almost swing to the ceiling, because my friend was, a fairly big guy. He was a lot bigger than I was. I would say he outweighed me by at least 40 pounds, maybe 50 pounds or more. And it's not to say that he was a huge guy. It's pretty much saying that I was, the 98-pound weakling. That's what they said back in the day. So anyway, I was a 98-pound weakling. He was this karate guy, and he was advancing through the ranks. I think he was probably somewhere between green belt. He wasn't a black belt, but he was somewhere between the green belt and a brown belt. Probably maybe in another year and a half, 2 years, he would be black belt. So anyway, I had witnessed his karate skills, and they were okay. So anyway, flash forward back to this incident. He said, "Get off the bike." And so I put the bike down gently. And, the buddies are around, they're all looking, we're 15, 16 years old. They're all looking, what's going to happen? And so he says, I told you not to ride that bike. And he's red in the face. He's angry and everything. And then I can't believe he's so angry over this. But, he did tell me not to ride the bike. But I thought I was doing him a favor. So anyway, he gets into his karate stance. I'm thinking, oh no, he's not going to do this. He's not going to fight me. And I said, I don't want to fight you. And so the guy starts coming at me. And, Sam's coming at me. And thinking, I know what he's going to do. He's going to give a side kick. He's going to give me a side kick. And so as he's coming toward me, I turn around and he's throwing the kick. I turn around and I go like this. And so he throws the kick and it was coming right at my head. And instead of hitting me in the head, he hit me in the high upper back, just below my neck. And it's a good thing because had he connected with my head, I would have been unconscious on the ground. He had that much power in his kick. So anyway, it hit me. I turned around. And, he turned me around with the power of the kick, but it was nowhere near the power that he would have had on me had I just stood there or had I tried to fight him, which would have been insanity for me, the 98-pound weakling, to try the 98-pound weakling. Here I can. I'm so flustered I can't even get the story out. The 98-pound weakling trying to fight this guy who is, near between green belt and brown belt. So I'm not going to do it. And plus, I don't want to fight a friend. So anyway, I didn't run away. I just kind of stood there for a second. And this is really embarrassing to admit, but my face turned red and I felt like I was going to cry. And not cry from the pain of the karate kick contact to me, but just like, hey man, I thought this guy was a friend, and of course I didn't want to cry. That would have been like humiliating. Oh, look, he's going to cry. And I think they even had like a line like that from the movie The Karate Kid. Oh, Daniel's going to cry. But I didn't. I just kind of stood there and then I walked away. I walked away because I didn't want to fight him. Even if I could beat him, I wouldn't want to fight him because there's no winning in that. There's no winning. So, I walked away and one of my buddies followed me and he said, Rich, are you okay? I said, yeah, I think I am. And he said, you took a real solid kick there. And I said, yeah, it wasn't too bad. And yeah, I just kind of, made lightheartedness out of it. And, a couple years later, we graduated high school and everything. And we ended up going to the same college campus together. He was like on a different part of the campus. And, got a ride home from him a couple times. And then I would say about 20 years later, and I didn't really have any contact with him for a long time. And then about 20 years later, I went to one of my high school reunions and I saw him there. And he's coming up to me. And he says, I want to tell you something. And I was thinking, oh man, which leg is it going to be this time? The right leg or the left leg? And I got a tie on and I don't feel like hitting the ground in front of all my classmates. And, of course, then I was just catastrophizing it, thinking of the worst possible scenario. And he said, what you wrote in my yearbook, that meant a lot to me. So basically what happened is at a yearbook signing party, I just had written a very positive quote in his yearbook, and it had to do with cars and movies and all the kind of things he was into. And it was a real uplifting quote, wishing him the best success in life. And he had always remembered that. So that's the story when I was karate kicked by a friend. And so, a sad thing is, like about 5-6 months ago, I had looked him up. I just was curious what had happened to him. And he had done okay in life in a lot of different ways. Married, had family, the whole 9 yards, business, good businesses going on. And he had passed away. I had found his obituary, so it was kind of sad. But I'm glad I had that moment. I mean, I'm not glad I got kicked, but there was something to be learned from that kick. And that is, don't give up on your friends. Like for one moment in time, if somebody does something that's not the best thing, maybe just give them another chance, Maybe have like a 3-strike rule. 3 strikes and you're out. 3 karate kicks to the head and you're out. I don't know, however you want to put it. But yeah, give people a chance. And also, you never know how you're going to affect people. Like what I had written in his yearbook, I didn't know was going to really mean that much to him. I was just trying to be uplifting and trying to be nice. So anyway, I hope you guys liked the story. Like, subscribe, and hopefully I get some more stories out there that might interest you or might motivate you, or inspire you, or teach you something, or bore you to death. Take care, you guys. Bye.